Are you being manipulated by ads, media, politicians? I'm making this video because I just had a conversation with an acquaintance of mine that is about 90 years old, believe it or not. And it kind of sparked this idea for a conversation I would like to have. And it's exactly what the video says, how we're being manipulated. And I feel that as older people, 40, 50, 60, 70, and so on and so forth, it just seems that we're being manipulated more than younger people. I don't know, could be wrong, but I know I have been through various forms of media, through various forms of marketing to buy stuff, and definitely through television, news, and whatnot. In fact, I feel that we're not being told the news anymore. It's a narrative that's being spun constantly to get a reaction out of us, to sway us. So you know what? No more lies. Spotting and rejecting manipulation in politics or in marketing or in media, in ads. I think that we kind of have to, put a stop to it as we get older. And because of the social media, for example, and the technology advancements that most 40, 50, 60 year olds and even older may not have had as they were younger, I believe that we are more prone to be manipulated. So, see if you can relate to this. Um, you read headlines of advertisements that you see in a magazine, on the computer, on television. You come across an ad. You watch the news. Maybe you're watching a political speech or from someone, and does it feel that it's not really meant to inform you, to give you information, but it's more meant to sway you? I know I have witnessed that many times, and it seems that nowadays in 2024, 2025 just entered, every time you turn, especially the news, every time you turn the news, you're really not being informed. You're just being given a version of the truth to sway you. Does that make sense? Do you feel that way? Well, I don't think you're alone, because I feel the same way. I feel that in today's world, um, manipulation in politics and in marketing and media. It just they've taken it to the next level. It's just an art form. It's designed to influence what you think, how you feel, and ultimately get you to act, as opposed to inform you, give you the facts, and allow you to make a decision. Um, in this video, I want to try to kind of go over some things, like, shed some lights and expose some tactics that they're used by corporations and, product companies, social media, marketing agencies, politicians, of course. And maybe we can get, a better understanding together, how we can start using more critical thinking, and how seeking the truth as opposed to distorted versions of the truth. So, you know, I will start by, again, saying that the conversation that I had with this 90-year-old gentleman um, started by him saying, "Can you believe what Elon Musk did?" I said, "Why? What happened? What did he do?" And he was talking about a video that he watched. I didn't ask him where, but he says, "Did you see him, acting like Hitler, giving the sign?" I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, there's a video of him, and he was at the inaugural speech. I'm sorry, the inaugural event, whatever, for the president, and he started giving the sign, that Hitler." So what? So I had to go back and use and see the video. I said, "Oh, I haven't seen that." So I went back home and I pulled out his shorts out, and I looked at the video. And I suggest that you guys, if you want to Google it, I don't know, maybe Elon Musk Hitler sign, I don't know, something like that, or Elon Musk's inauguration speech, maybe that will be a good one. So I get the video, and he's talking about how thankful he is, basically, for the people supporting him and supporting Trump, I guess, and saying that the reason why Trump was elected, and the reason why they were able to do what they did and accomplish and get elected, and there's a lot of talk of him. Um, Leading a new agency by the government that's going to cut back spending, similar to what he did with X when he bought it, and yada yada yada. But he's basically thanking people for the support. And again, I'm paraphrasing. If you want to watch the video, please go ahead and do. And then he's putting his hand on his heart, and he says, "My heart goes out to you." And he makes my heart, puts his hand on his heart. My heart goes out to you, and he extends his arm. And he did it a couple times. My hand goes out to you. My heart, sorry, my heart goes out to you, and stretches his arm. Well, it seems, and then I went to do Google, and a couple other videos popped up, the same speech in different media sources and whatnot, news feeds, that was showing him only making that motion, which it looked, sort of a gesture that someone in Hitler's era would do, I guess. But they didn't show the part where he said, "My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you," thanking you. They didn't show the whole thing. They just took a piece of that video, and to manipulate what people are watching. Furthermore, if you do some research on Elon Musk, he's um, he's an individual that's in my opinion, he's an extremely smart man. Is he a genius? I don't know, but he's an extremely smart man, and he's accomplished things that you and I, or most of us, do not even dream of accomplishing because of his intellect. But also, I think he's been very vocal about his awkwardness. I think he has some form of certain condition that in social circles he's very awkward when he speaks, when he talks. You can see that he's very awkward, right? My point is this: here's another video, and that's why I'm creating this video, because I had to share this with you guys. Here is a gentleman, 90-year-old gentleman, that watched a manipulative version of the truth. Manipulated version of the truth. In my opinion, that cut edited video was playing basically on emotions. You know, he got a rise, and he immediately assumed that Elon was doing something wrong, that something inappropriate, something that you should not be doing, because the manipulative version of the video kind of pushed you to get to feel that way. And the video was playing on his emotions, and it kind of provoked fear of what Elon was doing. Oh, really? We're supposed to be living in this democracy. We're supposed to be living in the US, and you have Elon behaving this way in an inaugural speech with a new government, right? A lot of emotions. So it just seems that politicians, use fear, hope, or anger to push their agendas, and then the media does the same thing. So, for example, oh my God, if you don't act now, our way of life is at risk. The kind of language that preys on fear to shut down critical thinking, and push urgency over analytical thinking. The key tactic is emotional appeal to override our logic, to override the way we think rationally, making it easier to support or demonize opponents. In this particular case to demonize Elon. So that sparked the idea for this video. So how do we, what do we should do? And look, at 90 years old, I'm not gonna go back and debate or argue and say, you know what, the video was wrong, because he's very set in his way. And I feel that as we get older, we become more set in our ways, and we just are not as easily adjust our thinking. We don't adjust our thinking as easily. We're not we don't accept change easily, nor do we acknowledge when we're wrong. But how do you spot these things? Well, in my opinion, you look for emotionally charged language or emotionally charged gestures. You go back and you search when you see a video, if that was a short form of the video, if there's a longer video that shows more content. you know um we should be asking, what are the facts behind the statement that somebody makes, or what are the facts, if somebody makes a gesture, like in this particular case, is there evidence to support what somebody claims? And thinking back over the last few years, there is tons of videos out on both sides, right, left, independent, that and not just politics, but in life, that things are taken out of content, the videos being edited, you know, and it doesn't sound like what the person is saying or doing. But at the end of the day, and as I've said in other videos, if you go watch my other videos, it always begins and ends with you. So as a 40, 56-year-old person, as we get older, we have to start using our wisdom, our life experience, what we've been through, and start being more analytical about what we're being fed, because we're not being fed. We're not being fed the truth. We're being manipulated. And I feel, as older people, we're being manipulated a lot easier than younger people. We kind of forget how we used to be when we were younger. When we were younger, maybe we were more rebellious. We weren't accepting things the way it was presented to us. Little kids, you tell them to do something, and they always tell you, well, why? Like you tell a little kid, hey, don't stick don't play with matches, because you'll don't play with matches. Well, why? Because if you play with matches, you will ignite a fire. And why? And well, if you ignite a fire, you might burn yourself. And why? There's always a why. The younger people, they're never settle for just the short answer. They want to know more. And I feel as we get older, we kind of forget that. We kind of forget that. And that's evident, like I said, everywhere. I mean, look, take marketing, for example, right? Being sold a lifestyle as you get older. Advertisements, which rarely sell products. They sell identities and aspirations. They show older people retired, living in a an amazing environment, trying to sell you maybe a retirement community home or something like that. A luxury car ad that doesn't focus on the car's mechanics, but instead shows you an older successful person driving it, implying that, hey, buy this car, and you'll live as a successful person that you are, you'll live a very luxurious, comfortable lifestyle. Style, you know. It basically associates the car with the older retirement successful lifestyle. It associates the car with happiness, belonging, rather than the actual value of the car, the actual mechanical value of the car. So again, how do you spot it, right? Well, maybe we need to focus on what's being sold versus the message that's attached to it. Does the product actually solve a problem or fulfill a need? Or is it playing on our emotions? Do you need to have a retirement home in Florida by the water to live your best life? or your current home is fine. I mean, you're close to your children, to your grandchildren, and you are living a great life. You understand where I'm going with this? Um, what else? I talked about, again, marketing, politicians, the media. How they frame a narrative. The news outlets, they shape the stories to fit their audience expectations and biases. Depending on what news outlet you watch. You might have two outlets report the same identical event, but one emphasizes positives while the other highlights negatives. Framing manipulates the perspective. How can I put this? It kind of frames the perspective of that particular media outlet by selectively presenting information or editing that information. Like I said, this particular example I used with Elon Musk, right? One outlet published a whole video, and one can see that he's thanking people from his heart. Now people say, from the bottom of my heart I thank you. While other I'm sorry, media networks edit it to, again, sway and create an emotion. Maybe part of how we fix it is comparing multiple sources reporting the same story. Watch multiple news outlets, regardless if you agree with them or not, and then form your own decision. I personally get most of my news and most of the stories from social media. People on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I feel like I get better perspective from different people than actually I get by watching the news. Do I watch the news? Yeah, I do. Do I focus on one new channel? Yes, but I also try to turn to other channels that I may not agree with, just to see what they're going to have to say. You know, um, I don't know. I'm just trying to think different ways that how we can fix this. I mean, it just seems that everything, social media, marketing, ads, everything, they just cherry pick, and they highlight specific things while ignoring others. You know, um, I don't know, like recently, the previous government gloated about how the unemployment rate had dropped in the recent months, but they didn't tell you that they're the ones that created the unemployment. And again, you may disagree. You may think that unemployment was created by the previous administration. Whatever. I'm just using that as an example. In my opinion, unemployment has risen in the last 4 years. But they did tell us that the unemployment rate dropped in the recent months. Yeah, you know, no, you're the ones that created it. Well, here's another one. Again, I don't know if you agree or not, but inflation has risen over the last 4 years. But in the recent months, they're saying, well, inflation has come down a little bit. Yeah, but the inflation, you created inflation by doing certain things. Again, I'm not here to discuss politics. You may disagree with the statements I just made. I'm just giving you examples. Okay. Um, there's just like, there's falsehood everywhere. Presenting an issue, um, having presenting an issue with only one side, where in actuality there are two sides. Actually, there's an old saying, there's three sides to every story. So if you have two people, if you have a couple, for example, his, hers, and the truth. If you have two people debating something, his, and the truth. So there's always different point of views, and when we cut or alter part of the truth and only present one narrative, that's how we're being manipulated. um I don't know. But just so many things that I feel that we as older folks need to need to change in our way of thinking. And as I always say in every video that I do, it always begins and ends with you. You know, I believe that we're being manipulate it more as we get older. But there's just so many things that we can do. You know, there's fact checking resources you can get online and do your own diligence and search the web before you make a decision. But I feel that the older you get, the less likely are you to start doing some research when you hear something like this particular gentleman. Instead of reacting right away, and saying, "Oh, well, Elon, can you believe what he just did?" Maybe you should have took the time to go inside and check the computer or turn the TV on or something. I don't know. Maybe look for a different side of the story. But maybe a lot of older people. I think that older people have increasingly started to use the internet, anything, any kind of digital device. I think more and more older people have a tablet. Maybe their children, grandchildren taught them how to use it. So I believe that they do have access to that, and I think that they are using it. But why, why are we still refusing to do the due diligence? You know what I'm saying? So that's the video. Like I said, I just want to point it out that I feel that we're being manipulated a lot more than younger people. I feel that we are we're not as disruptive, or we're not as rebellious, or we're not, and I use this in good terms, okay? Not to go out and disrupt things and revolt and rebel. No. What I use those terms as saying, hey, look, if you tell me something, I'm not going to accept it. I'm going to listen to you, but I want to go and check and double check and triple check before I form an opinion. But it seems that now we just listen to things, media, social media, advertising, marketing, politics, and we're like, oh, okay. Well, take this is good for you. Oh, okay. You know, recently, older people were encouraged to take something for medical use. Oh, take this medicine because it's good for you. Well, should we believe that it's good for us because somebody said so? Should we talk to a physician? Maybe more than one. If you go look at some of my videos, you'll know that I am a recovering cancer survivor. I've been cancer free for the last 10, going 11 months. When my cancer journey started, well, I visited 3 doctors before I made a decision who I would put my trust in, because this was my life. Kind of the same thing. Anyway, hope you guys liked the video. Love to continue our conversations, trying to build this community um, that revolves around 40, 50, 60, older people. Let me know what you think. Please comment, share. Till next one.